Welcome to another episode of the WestsLife podcast, sponsored by Wests Ashfield Leagues, the best place to watch the Titans this Thursday, live and loud. And we're going to preview that game tonight. And of course, we're also sponsored by MG Pump Solutions, and we have the big fella back on the show tonight. But before we unleash Shane and Rob, give us a follow on the socials at WestsLife Pod on Instagram and Twitter. Support and take part in the show at patreon.com/WestsLife. Some of the guys have asked some questions and had a few rants that we're going to get to later in the show. And check out the WestsLife YouTube channel. All episodes are up on there. So, Shane, you're a little too tired for Monday night show, which is all good. You're out there, you're obviously busy with the wet weather that just won't go away. But what are your thoughts? We'll get your quick thoughts on that shitfest that was the loss of the Warriors.
Yeah, hey Josh. Yeah, it was lovely. It's almost like we feel like, oh yeah, we watched that again. Going back to the first half, it's like we've had one good half of football in 3 games. Like, look, I can't say the beginning of the game at the Warriors game was horrible, but just so many silly mistakes again. The referee, I don't know. I don't know what the go was with him, but obviously that blunder with Luch's try ended up losing by 4 points too. So if that got sent up, I'd say it probably would have been awarded a try, and we would have either tried gone to golden point, or, to be honest, it would have changed the dynamic of the game, and we probably wouldn't have gone down how we did. So that definitely was quite frustrating. It turned the tide pretty bad. As Madge says, ebbs and flows of the game, but it definitely was against us, that one. I noticed after that, there's a few real quite dodgy calls. I noticed a few of the times the Warriors were laying in on the ruck a little bit longer than they should, and we weren't getting either a penalty or a set restart. In the second half, I just noticed Dane Laurie out of position a lot, not following up on support plays. Supposedly there was an issue with his contact lenses. If that's the case, needs to get it sorted. You can't sort of have that happening midway through a game. But I think after it all got sorted, he even dropped that grubber from Brooksy that he kicked through. That's almost unforgivable. That literally popped up straight to his arms, and somehow it still managed to fall out. So I guess that sort of compounded the frustration even more so. On a positive note, Gildart and Toa looked really, they seem to look like they gel a lot more. They were the only really attacking side. Noffa's side was very quiet. I felt that Toa and Gildart just sort of broke through a lot more. They just managed, they had the speed and the power. Gildart, he needs to work on a few bits and pieces, obviously, but a couple of the passes, Toa was pretty much directly next to him, so I don't understand why he was standing there. Should have been behind him a little bit, but as Rob's mentioned, he should have kicked infield for Dane, but who knows, either he didn't see him or it's just not how he plays footy. Let's be honest, some people just don't want to kick the ball. Who knows, but being a Pommy boy, you'd expect him to be pretty good at kicking the ball around.
Yeah.
Other than that, Luch was look, as much shit as I give him, he's a consistent performer, and I just want to see more. I want to see him add that extra bit to his game, even though he's leaving at the end of the year. Give us some try assists. There's been so many times where all he needs to do is pass it, and it's good. He seems to be passing a little bit more now, which is, he must be listening to the show, you know. I must get some coaching credit.
Funny you say that.
He's just scared of you, Shane, that's all.
Well, he started following us. Luch actually started following us on Instagram today, joining Joffa and Sean Bloor and Oster Diaz as our followers on Instagram. So if you're listening, Luch, yeah, we're big fans. Shane wants more of you, so please.
It's all
Give him,
love. It's all love.
it's all
I just
love.
want better.
It's like yeah, it's like a dad. He wants the best out of you. He wants the best for you with tough love. Rob Bashara, um, Shane mentioned the refereeing blunders on the weekend, and I saw you on Twitter. You're a bit surprised that the referee, old mate, he came. Came out in the
Ziggy.
media that he was upset and felt really bad, which made us feel a lot better, I'm sure. But he's not dropped this week, and you were a bit surprised with that.
Oh man, I'm actually shocked. It was a horrible blunder. Just the fact that he didn't go up, whatever they ruled, whether it was a try or not. But I guess they probably don't want to shatter his confidence as well, and just sort of say, "Oh, you made a horrific blunder," and it sets him back a little bit. So anyway, that's up to the referees. It's not going to give us the 2 points. Just something on what Shane said too. I know how much you heard of last night, Shane, but I think we went to Gilly and Toa quite a bit because, no disrespect to Luke Garner, he's not going to be an attacking threat at right centre. So that's probably why we didn't go to Noff's side much. And really, that kind of hurt us when we had the sin bin as well. Even though we had an extra man, we probably need to sort of reconfigure that right hand side and maybe swap someone around and put someone on that side that has a bit more attack than Luke. Even if we move Gildart over there or something, you know what I mean? Because we just had to really go play on that right side of our attack more than we did. But yeah, the ref, I don't know, man. Like I've said, New Zealand scored 2 tries when they were down a player last year against us. So there's no guarantee, even if we hit the lead, that they wouldn't have thrown the ball around or scored or something like that. But as you said last night, Josh, we don't have a good enough squad to let alone handle our own errors, refereeing errors. So yeah, it's just really disappointing. But the effort was there, the execution was poor.
If you guys are looking for somewhere to watch the West Tigers this Thursday take on the Gold Coast Titans live and loud on the big screen, kickoff is at 8:05 p.m. and there is no better place to watch it than Wests Ashfield. So Wests Ashfield, they're partnering with our friends, the Ambush, the group you may have seen on Facebook and around, and friend of the show, Kelly, does a lot of work with the Ambush. So they're holding a function at Wests Ashfield for the game this week. They're giving away exciting prizes, offering half-price beer and pizza until half-time. So, grab a feed while you're there. Terms and conditions apply. Selected beers only. Wests Ashfield practices the responsible service of alcohol. Drink responsibly. Wests Ashfield is the home of the Wests Tigers. Wests Ashfield is at 115 Liverpool Road, Ashfield. For more information, visit at Wests Ashfield's website, westashfield.com.au, or follow them on Facebook and Instagram at Wests Ashfield. Now, back to the show. Boys, I don't know if you saw Cooper Cronk on one of the Fox Footy, not Fox Footy, the what's the Fox channel on
NRL 360.
NRL 360. The channel. I was trying to think of it's not Fox Footy. Fox Footy's AFL channel.
Fox League.
Fox League. Thank you.
Fox League 502.
Fox League 5.
Or as we like to call it, West Tigers 360.
Yeah, they love talking about us, but Cooper Cronk went pretty hard at Brooksy for basically not going towards the side. Obviously, after the sin bin, but him and Braithen Astor chimed in as well. But I'll go with Cooper Cronk's expertise on this one. Basically, said to Brooksy, he goes, you got to basically manage. You got to realise that the side that the player's missing, you got to go down, and he only went there twice, and one of those was when Dane Laurie drops the ball. But Shane, just lastly before we get on to this weekend's games, what were your thoughts on Brooksy last weekend?
I thought his kicking was all right. He was definitely a lot more quiet than the last couple of games. Like, I thought he wasn't too bad against nights, kicking wise. Like obviously you should have done a few other bits and pieces, and he was just seemed to bomb it up in that shitty wind. But just it's just always his fourth and fifth tackle plays. Like I just don't get. It's almost like we seem to be able to have enough creative spark to get us up the field, and then as soon as we're in the opposing 20, everything stalls and everyone just freaks out. And Brooksy just sort of throws silly passes. No one sort of really knows where to go. It just turns into an absolute mess. Like every now and again, we'll throw out a couple of good cutout passes and score like dead in the corner. But that's all we've got. And that's very rare. Like we barely get that at any time. Like obviously in the first game, he's kicking over to Ken Lamalo, which, look, that's what we need to do more of. But then you have Jock Madden, who was putting like probing little grubbers through, and just bits and pieces like that. I just felt out of the two between Brooks and Madden seemed to, like, to me, it looks like on the eye test, Madden had his head screwed on more than Brooks did when it came to, okay, cool, I'm going to put, like, I know that I think it was in the first half where Madden kicked it real low and Reece Walsh was just luckily running that way and caught it on the full. But Walsh wasn't running that way and he put it into the corner. That was like going to be that would have been out probably a metre from pretty much from their try line. And little kicks like that, that's what we don't see. It's just the Luke Brooks bomb. And I don't know, to me it was Jock Madden had had the thinking hat on and Brooks was sort of just running around doing whatever. It's very hard to watch, to be honest. There's really not much I can say about it because it's just every time it's the fourth, fifth tackle, we get down their end and it just turns to absolute shit.
Yep.
Whereas Hastings, the last, the trial and Storm especially, you're watching him square up the play, center it, and then bang, we've got left and right to go to. Whereas with Brooks, on the fourth play, he'll pass all the way out wide. And then someone will get tackled on the wing, and then we're playing from fucking right on one end, and we've got to play it all the way back to try to create an overlap. Before that time's happened, everyone's ran over and covered the overlap. So, that's just what I've noticed. I don't know if you guys notice the same sort of things.
No, we definitely.
Everyone sort of notices it.
We definitely were giving raps to Jock Madden for sure on Monday night's show. Boys, just on the halves situation and on Madden. So you mentioned Hastings there, Shane. So he returns Easter Monday. Is there a possibility? I mean, there's definitely a possibility that by that game we're looking at what 0-6. What are we now? 3? No, I'll be 0-5 if we lose to the Titans Thursday night and then the Sharks the following week. Could either of you see a Hastings Madden halves combo for that game, Rob?
It's possible, but it's going to depend on how Jock performs the next couple of games. As Shane said, his kicking was really good the other night. He did some good kicks. He forced a drop out. He put the kick up that led to Musgrove's try. He ran the ball well. But I'm not defending Brooks, but Brooks put a couple of good kicks too. He forced a drop out, and he should have had the go-ahead try had Dane Laurie not dropped it, and we might have been praising him a little bit for that kick. But I think it's just really going to depend on how it all pans out the next couple of weeks. If Jock plays well, then I could see Jock being halfback. It just depends. But if they do that, they're basically putting a line through Brooksy for the year, and I just don't know if they're going to do that right now. So it's just a tough one. We'll just have to see how it plays out. Just have to see how it plays out with injuries and stuff like that too. Some of it might be forced. Maybe Brooksy wouldn't be there now, obviously, if Adam had started the year, et cetera, et cetera. So let's just see what troops we've got by the time Hastings gets back and play from there.
Shane?
Yeah, I reckon there's very, very little chance we'll see Jock Madden in halfback.
Over Brooksy?
No, I don't think we'll see Jock Madden over Brooks. I reckon Brooks will be in.
Okay.
Um, I just can't see them. Like they've stuck with him for this long. I just can't see them going. You know what? Nah. Like we might as well just have let him go to the Knights and just started the season with Jocking the halves. Like it just wouldn't make any sense. And we all know that our team's too stubborn to admit that they fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, 0-5. I think Madge might. He does say in the press conference, talks about. We'll get to the team list later, but not really any changes. Basically, just brought guys back this week. But elsewhere, so lower grades this weekend. So the Magpies Cup team, they return to Lidcombe Oval. They're playing 3:30 p.m. against the North Sydney Bears on Saturday. Jersey Flegg, 5:30 Sunday. That's down as playing at the new Centre of Excellence. Now, that's according to New South Wales RL. Is the Centre of Excellence? I haven't seen anything from the West Tigers saying the Centre of Excellence is finished. Did
It's
you?
a few months away.
So
Yeah,
that
it'll be done in
game.
April.
Yeah,
Like late
already.
April.
Well, Sunday is April 3rd. So
Maybe it was scheduled originally, had that
yeah.
Centre of
So
Excellence been finished by then, but I doubt that that'll happen there.
so I'm not sure. Yeah, if that's legit or not. So Harold Matthews and SG Ball teams, the Balmain teams, are playing at Leichhardt against the Sharks. They're at 9:30 and 11 a.m. The Magpies are over at Brookie playing against Manly, obviously at 10 a.m. and 11:30 a.m. The Tasha Gale girls are playing 2:30 Saturday. Leichhardt, the same as the Balmain boys.
Well, actually, about the Western Suburbs,
Yes.
Magpies playing New South Wales. Like, obviously, the cup team.
Yeah.
Stafford Toa is starting fullback.
Mm.
We've got Jake Simkin in at 9, Tuki Simpkins in 11, and Rua is playing lock.
Mm.
So,
Is that different to previous weeks?
yeah, well, last week, Junior Tupou, the young fellow we got from Rugby Union, he was playing fullback. So I'm just wondering if they're trying to get Toa, like just seeing how it goes and going, you know what, if Laurie has a couple of shockers, you come in as fullback. Because to be honest, he runs it pretty hard and he's very, very safe under the high ball. So could be an option if Dane's form doesn't pick up.
Dane Laurie in the centres, is that a possibility or too
Too
small?
small for mine.
Yeah.
Too small for mine.
Yeah, I reckon he'd get absolutely smashed.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Lickham Oval, yeah, it was fun. The last time, I think it might be the last time the three of us uh, were together at Lickham Oval last
I
year,
think it was.
pre-COVID. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, might look at heading over to Lidcombe Oval on Saturday Arvo. Righto, so on to first grade. We are playing against the Gold Coast Titans at Seabus Super Stadium, 8 o'clock Thursday night. Hence, we are recording earlier in the week, because obviously this episode will be pretty pointless and will look pretty silly if you're listening to this on Friday and our predictions are all completely wrong. The team list is... So fullback, Dane Laurie still at fullback. So on the wings, Ken Molo is back with Ollie Gildart in the centres, and Jimmy Roberts is back in the centres with David Nofaluma. On the other wing, Tarmau, one front rower, Jacob Little is hooker again. Zane Musgrove gets the start. Of course, Stefano is out, unfortunately, for, what are they saying, about 10 weeks, boys, for Stefano. Kelma Tuolagi is back in the back row, which is a big, big help. Luciano Leilua, the other back rower, Joe Offengowie still at lock. Now, on the bench, Jakey Simpkin is not in this game. As Shane already said, he's playing for the Maggies. So Tyrone Peachy is at 14, Alex Twal, Luke Garner, and Alex Seyfarth. So, boys, the hooker situation there, is Jacob Little playing 80 minutes, or is Tyrone Peachy playing some 9? What do you reckon, Rob?
I don't know if Jacob Little can get through 80 minutes.
Yeah, I don't think so. We talked about this.
He came off after 57 last Friday night, or 47, I should say. So that left Simkin 33 minutes. I'm guessing Peachy's going to be that backup hooker, which kind of disappoints me because I really liked what Peachy was doing in the middle of the field. He played a little bit of first receiver, second receiver. He just had a lot of spark about him, and I think that just nullifies him being a hooker. The other thing, based on how Madge has used his subs previously with the hookers, I guess that means Peachy's not going to come on till, 50 minutes or so. So he's just going to play the last 30 minutes. So it's a bit of a weird one. I would have preferred 2 hookers. Not a fan of Garner being on the bench.
Yep.
Like Garner played well last week. I just don't think you need a back rower on the bench. So it's just a waste of a sub. I'd rather someone who's going to play a middle there. I'm not saying Garner couldn't play a middle, but he's not designed to play a middle. But yeah, the 2 hooker thing's my big beef. I guess Mamalo and Roberts are the incumbents, so that's probably why they're there. So Toa's very unlucky to miss out, but you never know. Maybe one of them is still injured and Toa will get a start. So we really don't know how that's going to pan out. But yeah, other than that, I mean, I think it's pretty much an expected lineup for the rest of it. I'm not a fan of Twal being on the bench again. I know Madge is probably looking for a bit more spark at the beginning of the game, having Musgrove there, but as I've said numerous times, Twal's not an impact player. I'd be starting with Twal, and then Musgrove comes on and just gives you a little bit of spark, a little bit of thrust through the middle there when some of the bigger boys are getting tired from the opposition. But what are your thoughts, Shane?
Yeah, I don't understand why Garner's on the bench unless he's going to be running as a front rower, and I don't think he's big enough for that. I don't think he has, he probably got the legs, but I just don't. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. You don't carry a back row on the bench. Your back row should be doing 80 minutes every fucking day of the week. It doesn't matter. You don't even change back rowers. So I'm with Peachy. I think he'll slip between lock and hooker. I think they'll probably put him on early, and they'll rotate him with Joffa. So they'll put Joffa. So they'll probably put him in, say, in 20 minutes, half an hour. He'll play the last 10 minutes through, and then I'd say pretty much go until Jacob turns around and goes, "Yep, no, I'm cooked," and then he'll swap into the hooker role from that. So that's what I'm thinking.
And Shane, I'm actually worried that I think you might be right with that, and that scares the shit out of me too, because if
he's going to be so tired when
he's going to be so tired, man. He's just the service is just going to be rubbish at a dummy half. So I kind of hope you're wrong, and I kind of thought it might be like that, and I thought, you know what, he's just better off being fresh and playing the last 30 minutes as a dummy half, because he can't be playing and then going to dummy half. Not, it's just too big of an ask for him. But
I reckon he will. I really think that's the plan with him. I can't see anything else happening. I don't like 12 in the 13 at all. It just doesn't work. And that's the only way I can see this bench rotation working, and just running Luke Garner as a front rower, which I find stupid, but it might happen.
And that's the thing. See, it's one thing losing
for Kelmer, and Kelmer shifts over to a front row. I don't know. Someone's going to shift him to the front row.
It's one thing losing, but when Madge does a couple of things that we might find peculiar, that's going to come back and bite him in the butt. If he picked a team, like if we had 2 hookers going, and I mean, I'm guessing Madge obviously thinks, they're a big team. We need to sort of match them with size, but they don't. They've got a utility on the bench in Will Smith, so it's not like they've got 4 forwards on the bench or anything like that. So I think we could have run with 2 hookers, but maybe Little is going to play 80 minutes. Shane, I don't know. I just find it hard to believe, because I really like the role Peachy did last week. He was really good. He actually, straightened our attack up a couple of times. He got into first receiver when we blew that try on halftime. So he's just got a few more strings to his bow. I just don't want him being sort of just put in that role. Tied down to that. Exactly. I just want him to have a roving commission, but Maybe he has got that commission, and we're overplaying it and thinking he's going to be hooker because we're used to, not having an 80-minute hooker since Farris. So.
Well, we've heard from it, like the club a few times, that Jacob Little's the fittest person in the club. So if he's as fit as what they're saying, yes, I know he got injured, he might be playing the 80. And if he's playing the 80, then we're going to be seeing Peachy come in and rotate to the centre, which is good. That's what we need. So we'll have to see, I guess. I'm just worried that what I was saying is going to come to fruition now.
Yeah, it might actually. That really does bother me.
Rob, you mentioned Will Smith coming off the bench for the Titans. I think it'd be wise for no one to make any jokes about his wife.
Yeah. Let's hope he doesn't slap us around too much.
Yeah, the only slapping I expect is Dane Laurie and Jimmy Roberts on the more chili machine. At the what's the casino there? Jupiter's. Oh, it's called something else now, but Jupiter's Casino on the Goldie. But is there any concern on a Gold Coast trip with these boys? We know, like, not saying they're going to go out partying or something, but do you think they're going to be strictly told to stick to maybe go to the beach for a recovery session, stick to the hotel at night? Do you think after the...
Man, I'm worried with them going to Wollongong, let alone Gold Coast. There's nothing to do at Wollongong, and I'm still like, oh, what are they going to get up to? Or what stupid headlines going to be falling out this week? But
I think after the Newcastle weekend, we're going to be well behaved. I mean, I'm not saying we're not going to go out and have a bit of fun, but nothing stupid. No poker machine stuff, that's for sure. They won't be visiting. They won't be visiting the casino at Broadbeach or anything, I hope, or at least till after the game anyway. They can do what they want after the game.
Yeah, well, the Sharks is the following Sunday, so it's a 10-day turnaround. Maybe they'll let their hair down. If they get a win, you get a win, boys. You can have a weekend, have a few beers, and go play the pokes at the casino.
If you're going to win, do what you want.
Yeah.
If you want to,
but I don't think there's an issue, guys. I don't think there's an issue when it's after the game. I think the issue is what they do before the game. So if they got to the Gold Coast and they went to the casino on Wednesday night, then there'll be the media will be all over it. But after the game, I mean, they'll just do what they want regardless.
I mean, there'll be scouts there for sure looking for them.
As in media.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They'll be running around there looking for them. Kate.
Yeah.
Who's here? Where are they?
Because the media are all over us like a rash, even without something like that happening. So,
his biggest fans.
Rob, any other thoughts on the Titans team? I know you were off air were talking about a few changes they've made.
Well, look, I mean, after last Friday night, I thought that's as winnable as a game as we're ever going to get, and we've kind of blown our chance to get a win. And with Stefano's injury, it's looking pretty grim. The fact that we've got 3 players coming back, and they've got Campbell out, they've got their winger Philip Sammy out. I think that's over COVID, and our old mate Corey Thompson takes his place, and they're losing, I think, Herman SASA. So they've got a few guys out, and obviously they played the day after us, so they've had one less day to recover. You're kind of thinking, well, can we snag something? Like they're not at full strength. But every time I get my hopes up, something goes wrong. So I kind of feel it is actually a winnable game, but we've got to be better in attack. I think if our defence was like it was the other, last Friday night, well, obviously we just got to defend the high ball better and the kicks better. But if we can defend like we did, it'd be wonderful. But knowing our luck, David Fafita will decide to play like the best player in the world on Thursday night. So who knows? I'm pretty sure it's going to be wet conditions up there. So
no, it's actually 23, partly cloudy, according to
really?
the weather. Yep.
Because I know in Brisbane it's really wet, like really, really wet at the moment. So they're only an hour south from there. But
yeah.
So I think it's a winnable game, but you just can't expect to win. Like we should have won last week. And, I just hope the boys put in a big effort and somehow get the job done.
We're paying $3, around the $3.50 mark at a 10.5 start. Are you touching any of that, Shane?
That's bad. that's that's not good.
As in the 350 is not a good sign, or you want us to
No.
pay more?
Oh, look, it's warranted. It's completely warranted. What a Titans sitting at? $1.30, $1.40?
$1.31. Yep.
Yeah. That's like, look, it's completely warranted.
Yep.
The Titans are a better team, and I'm not like pretty much at the moment. Everyone's a better team other than Warriors, and and to be honest, I don't think Bulldogs are that good either. Other than that, like every other team in the comp, I believe is probably better than how we're sitting going into this game. So, yeah.
They're going to be pretty dirty too. They've given up a 22-point lead against Canberra. You know, like 22-0, 30 seconds before half time and got run down. So they can go one of two ways. They can be really deflated and take it into this week, which is what I'd be hoping, or they could be really angry with themselves and come out all fired up. So in terms of form, the way they finished the game wasn't great. So it gives us a little bit of hope that, I think we've just got to get off to a good start. I find it funny that, their coach has actually said, Tyrone Peachey's a good player, but, when a team's on the back foot, Tyrone Peachey is really no good for you. Like if things are going bad, he's not the sort of player that can get you back on the front foot. Yet they had no one that could get them on the front foot last week when Canberra was coming back. So I actually took a little bit of joy out of that. But yeah, we'll see how we go. I think it's a winnable game, but it's going to say a lot about our boys' mentality. How do they react from last Friday night? Do they drop their heads and just, beat themselves up over it? Or do they realise they've got a chance this week to, go get the win, get the 10-day break and just get some positive, news around the club and Madge and everyone else. So, we need it as a club, obviously, it goes without saying. So hopefully we can get it done, but I'm not holding my breath.
So predictions, boys.
Talking about mentality, quickly.
Yeah, go.
Talking about mentality. When I was talking to Lee last year, I did ask the question, why do we not have a sports psychiatrist on the books all the time? And he mentioned, they're very expensive for one thing, which is fair enough.
I was just about to say that.
But what he was saying was, the boys have, like, they can get one anytime they want and we'll pay for it. No hassles at all. And I literally said to him, I'm like, do you really think they're going to turn around and go, hey, man, I want to see a sports psychiatrist because I'm not playing good? Like, Brooksy won't do that.
They're 22-year-old kids.
That's it. Out of everyone, Luke Brooks probably needs to sit down with a sports psychologist and go through shit because that's what he needs. It's his mental game that kills him.
Yeah.
We need to have a sports psychiatrist or psychologist on the books. And
we probably do, Shane. We probably do, Shane. But the coaches have to be a bit of that, play a bit of that role. Though they have to be that sort of psychologist within the group. They've just got to keep their heads high, and there's nothing they can do about last week. They tried their best. They lost.
I'm just talking in general.
Yeah, I know.
They should once a week. They should all have to go and sit down and do stuff.
Yeah,
because as soon as pressure's on them, they fold, and that is mentality shit. That isn't like the inconsistencies we've been seeing for years and years and years is mentality. And
as we said a couple of weeks ago after we played Melbourne, like we looked so good for 50 minutes basically, and it wasn't that we played that bad after it. You could just see on their faces, maybe it was a lack of leadership, but there was a lack of belief that they could finish the job. And as we said, belief comes from confidence. Confidence comes from winning. So, I know the guys have a game plan and they get out there and they do their thing. But I'm starting to wonder too now, like last week, when you're down by 4 points, with 10 minutes to go, are they thinking, can we do it? I hope we do it. Or are they, it's not like we're going to do it. Like they try, but I just really don't know if they've got that belief there. And it's concerning.
We had that whole 10 minutes, it was ours. That whole 10 minutes, we were pumping it. We were attacking, and we still couldn't finish it.
Well, you wouldn't have heard this, Shane, because I'm sure you wouldn't have watched Fox, and you probably haven't listened to what we recorded last night. But Cooper Cronk said we had 17 tackles in their red zone, they were missing their left winger, and we were playing to their right side. We played 15 tackles to their right out of 17, and the two times we came left was when Gildart ran across the field and threw a long pass, and the other time was when Dane Laurie dropped the ball cold, which you probably remember. So yeah, but like I said, we should have readjusted our lineup there, because we probably didn't go to the right because Luke Garner's there. We got a bloody trombone in the string section, as they say. So we all our attack was based to our left the other night. But you got to play smart. If they're short on one side of the field and they're disorganised, you've got to attack that area. So yeah, it's just a poor way to end the game last week.
Righto, predictions, boys. What are we thinking? Who wants to go first?
Predictions. Look, I don't know if it's going to be closer, but I'm hoping it is with the guys they have out, and I'm hoping it's mid-20s. I'd score, we'll say 24, 22. Going to be close, I'm hoping.
Who's white?
Hopefully
Titans?
there's a few tries in it. I reckon Titans, yeah. I reckon Titans. I'll be honest, I think we probably won't win a game for 2-3 months. Like with how we're playing, I just don't see, and the run of games we've got coming up, I just don't see us winning if we're playing like this.
Rob?
Oh, look, I've got to say the Titans, even though I think it's a really winnable game. All I will predict is I'll say Fafita will score a try and Dane Laurie will score a try. Whether it's enough to lead us to victory or not, I'm not sure. But I'm pretty sure they'll be two blokes who will score tries this week.
So Dane Laurie puts his contact lens back in and
he played like he lost 2 contact lenses last week, not one. so hopefully he's got both of them in this week.
And he had a fake leg as well.
I think it's going to be close as well. I can see this coming down to basically there's going to be, again, either a referee's decision or just one sliding door moment in this game, and we're going to end up losing by, I reckon a 4-point margin, similar to last week. I think and goal kicking, I think, is going to cost us as well. I can see us scoring out wide, and just Brooksy's just not hitting any goals from out wide. I can see 4 tries apiece. Titans hit all of them, and then I'll say 24-20 to the Titans. I think that 10.5 on Sportsbet is tempting. I definitely think if the boys head up there with the right attitude, they can keep it close. We'll be partying if they actually pull off a win, but I think they can keep it close. Righto, we'll get on to the Patreon, guys. So a couple we didn't get to the other night. So Kenny, basically a bit of a review of the game. Both Kenny and Christoph are both kind of talking about the halves. So Kenny says, unfortunately, we have 2 more games without Hastings, but he needs to be our 7, in my opinion. Brooks and Madden offer just about as much at the number 6 until Adam Dwayne returns. And then Christoph kind of went off the back of that. He said, yeah, without Hastings, the attack didn't straighten up. Although we did get some repeat sets, we didn't take advantage. It became more and more frantic later in the game. And he also said Dane Laurie needs to spend some time in reserve grade. Boys, obviously, Shane, you were talking about Toa playing fullback for Magpies this weekend. Is there a chance? How long a leash do you think Dane Laurie has at the moment?
I reckon it's definitely tightening up. He's not going for they're kicking. To be honest, they're kicking to the edges. But look, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with him. It has me worried because last year he was our best player, and this year he's been bang average, really. Like, I'd say he's in the middle of the pack with best and worst. And look, it's only time. Like, we don't have competition for fullback. That's the issue. We've got guys who can come in and play wing. We don't really have competition in the centres. But forwards, we've got some competition there. like where you don't have competition, you usually they just stagnate. So we need someone to come in, and I'm hoping they're playing Toa in reserve grade to just see, can he do it? Is he up to it? Because we just need competition in all spots, whether it's fullback, halfback, or forwards. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, the more competition you have, the better players you're going to have. And look at the Storm. The Storm and the Roosters, a player drops out, a player comes in that's just almost as good. Whereas we don't have that. A player drops out and they're like, oh, fuck, who's coming in? So.
Carla has dropped us a bit of a rant. I'll summarise it a little bit. Sorry, Carla, but it's quite a long one. But it's a pretty good one. So she said the hopefully a relentless barrage of bullshit by the media and some of the ridiculous takes by some of our fan base is doing my head in. I totally understand the frustration and disappointing of not icing last night's game. Obviously, she did this the day after. I share it. There was zero excuse to lose a handed prime opportunity to finish off that game in the last 13 minutes of the game. That said, I also think there should be credit to the boys for the first 65 to 70 minutes of the game. We were handed every disadvantage possible. Goes on about, obviously, the changes of positions, the penalty, not awarded try, and that sort of thing. She reckons with Adam or Jackson Hastings playing in that game, we win it. Would you agree with that, Rob?
100%. I think even just if Jacko was there, it would have been enough. He definitely straightens up, the attack better. And, when you're trying to strip numbers, you just can't be running sideways. We'll probably get onto that later. I think you've got another question that refers to that because I'm just getting sick of the, I don't mind the Madge bashing to a degree because just people are frustrated. But when I see the players execute something properly and then they get that same opportunity later and they execute it totally differently. I'm not just talking about dropping balls. I'm like literally just running a block play and you see how they do it one way perfectly and then another way they just do it wrong. And I'm thinking, well, how can that be Madge's fault if they can actually do it once or twice the right way? So, it's just very frustrating. And, there's a lot of supporters just whinging, how did we lose? And as I said last night, a lot of you guys, both of you guys have said it yourself, as long as the boys try hard, give it their best and stay competitive, we're happy. Well, we did that last week and we lost and everyone's got the shits. So, we kind of chop and change our minds as to what we want. And then the media are just giving it to us, from every angle. And you just got to, I don't know, the only way I could say it is you just got to be like some of the players in our team that are copying some abuse. You just got to block it out. And all they've got to worry about is each other and what the coach wants them to do and play for each other. And don't worry what us fans think. Well, try your best, go out there and do it, but you just got to block that noise out. So, look, it's a hard one, but yeah, definitely, I think even if Adam was there, it even helps guys like David Nofaluma. Like, Nofa's going to catch a cold out there, mate. No one's giving him anything. He's got one try this year, but he's hardly seen any ball. I know Adam would be giving him those long cutout balls or kicks through or whatever, so he gets Nofa more involved. So, we're probably not going to see much of Nofa for the first 8 or 10 weeks just because Adam's a really good player that provides for him. So they both would have made a huge difference on Friday night. And if Adam was there from the start of the year, I think we'd be reasonably competitive. He's our best player, whether you think it or not, he is.
Shane, I know the next man up mentality is what the superior clubs. You look at the Roosters last year, overcoming injuries, but the fact that our injury list is Hastings, Steph, Sean, Tommy, Kepper, and Adam, like that's a fair chunk of the squad, and like arguably, like what three of our best players, like Jackson, Hastings, Stefano, and Adam alone are like three of our top. Would you call them our three best players?
They are our three best players.
Yeah,
100%. I agree.
Like, it's our best half, our best forward. Well, our two best halves, really. Our two best halves, our best forward. Yeah.
I was about to say, and our other best halves.
It's like the media, the bashing of the teams, and I get, like the last year, everyone was saying the Roosters, the injuries, they did keep winning for most of the year, but man, do you think it's it's a legitimate excuse, isn't it? These injuries, like we've got a lot of talent, and very not that we have a big depth of talent, which is obviously showing, but man, it's the injuries are a massive excuse for these losses.
Josh, every team's best 17 looks good on paper. Like they're all, they're good players. They're good teams.
Yeah.
When you're predicting how far you're going to go in the year, you look at the depth. And as you guys have said, like if Dane Laurie goes down, do we have an established fullback to go in that place? And the answer is no. So where other clubs, someone goes down, someone comes in. Like for example, New Zealand the week before they played us, they had Sean Johnson and Ash Taylor in the halves. They're both out, and they replace them with Nicarima and Chanel. Davida Harris. So, we don't have that sort of luxury. So once we cop some injuries, it's not, I'm not trying to make an excuse, but the point is it just shows a lack of depth. That's all. So like if we all had our best team there, it'd be a pretty good comp. Like obviously some teams have got better teams than others, but they're all good players. But geez, we've lost our best player, in Dwayne. And probably what you were saying about the top three boys. I think if Laurie was in form, I'd put him in our top three players, but he's certainly not showing that at the moment. So I'd probably put him in our top three. But yeah, like we're missing, how many did you say, Josh? 7 or 8 players? Like we put a second rower in the centres last week.
Yeah.
And the reason we didn't put, Pauga, I don't know if he's injured or not, but his only game that he played against Brisbane, I think he missed something like 14 tackles,
Wow.
or something thereabouts. So they're not going to throw him in there again. So we're just suffering from a roster that isn't strong enough. And yeah, we started behind the 8 ball without Adam there, not just for his play as well. He's really our leader, so we're lacking a bit of leadership out there. It's just tough times, man. The thing that bothers me the most about the harassment the club gets is we're getting harassment because of what we've been like for 10 years. We need to be
100%.
we need to just think about why are we in this position. Like right now, the last couple of weeks, sure, there's some roster stuff that happened a few years ago that's resulted to where we are today, but we've pretty much just cleaned out all the stupid signings and the overpaid prices. This year we've kind of flatlined, and now we're in a position to build on it, but we certainly don't have the roster that we want. But if you look at everything that's going on, we've appointed some good choices there with Tim Sheens and brought some legends back, and some of the juniors that we're signing. So it's not all doom and gloom, but the fans don't give a shit about that. They just want to see a victory, man. They just want to be able to have a smile on their face on Monday morning or, after the weekend. And, we're the only team that hasn't had a win yet, and it's only 3 rounds in. So, yeah, if we don't get a win this week, we're really not going to be getting a win for at least another month, as Shane said. But, it's just got to suck it up, ladies and gentlemen. And we've put up with it for 10 years. It is what it is.
Well, what I find silly with the NRL, we don't have enough talent to field another 30 players. We don't even have enough talent to fully fill, say, our top 30 now. Not every single player in our top 30 is first grade standard. Yet they're going to be trying to field another full team, and then in a few years they want another one after that. Where are we going to get these players from?
It's funny you say that. They're just talking about the Dolphins tonight. Apparently, the Dolphins have only signed something like 6 to 8 players.
Yeah, they got a lot of work to do.
Like, where are they going to get their players from? Like,
exactly.
This is the
Queensland
silly
Cup.
thing. The NRL just doesn't think. Like the Storm, probably Panthers, Roosters, and there's probably Broncos. They'll hold on to everyone. There'll be certain teams that hold on to killer players. You look at their top 30 and you go, holy shit, look at that top 30. Once they open another 2 teams, we'll be looking at our teams going, fuck me, we barely have 17 to field a full first grade team.
Shane,
I just don't understand what they're trying to do.
I push back a little bit on that. So bringing in another team also brings in another $10 million to throw at talent, and you can definitely bring in. There's plenty of talent that's gone to rugby that you could bring back. There's talent in the Super League that you could convince to bring over. If you got more big, close to $1 million per season contracts, I think you bring in a lot more talent into the comp. Maybe you do skim a little bit of the 25 to 30 players across the clubs, but at the end of the day, the depth is down to how good the club itself put down the roster. There's plenty of good talent getting around in Queensland Cups and New South Wales Cup that could push into a top 30 NRL
Yeah,
squad.
but again, they're just fringe players.
Yeah, I'm with Shane on this, Josh. I know what you're trying to say. You think there's more money there, but it's not. I mean, maybe some of the players that go to England a year or two, they might hang on in the NRL for a couple of years longer. But for example, like the guys like your Josh Reynolds and those sort of guys, they might have been snapped up by these, a new franchise like the Dolphins. But I don't think there's the talent there.
There's
really
heaps of
think.
Aussie talent in the Super League. There's so much that you'd hold on. It's just
but it's got to be nurtured, Josh. We've got to have a system where it's nurtured. 30, 40 years ago, you had reserve grade and all that sort of thing, and you had legends, like absolute legends of the game, like your Arthur Beetsons and Michael O'Connors and all that, still playing reserve grade when they were getting older. Nowadays, you just retire. You don't see legends playing reserve grade. They could develop those younger players. We just don't have that sort of system anymore.
Well, if
you can't make first grade by 23, 24, you're off to England, or you're playing another sport, or you're doing something.
But if you got more $10 million of contracts, extra worth of contracts in there, that might actually happen. I do agree. The cost of having...
I'm just saying, does it make you a better player though? If I'm a fringe player and you pay me $300,000 more, it's not going to make me a better player.
No,
it just means that you're paying me to play. But I don't know. I just don't see how the extra money makes you a better player. I think we're struggling for talent.
Don't get me wrong. Yeah, you can get someone from rugby, but you're not going to go get someone from rugby and go, "Here's $1 million. You're my marquee $1 million man." They play rugby, dude. You can't do it.
That's true.
I understand people go from league to union and whatnot, but I'm telling you now, you ain't going to England and you're going to be like, "Hey man, I'm giving you $1 million to be my." That's not going to happen. No chance. They're in England for a reason. They're like Super League's almost. I reckon you could probably put some of the junior teams here in Super League, and they'll get ran over by our second grade teams. You got to think, a lot of the Aussie boys that go over there can't hack it here, and that's the reason why they're over there. Or they get pushed out because they got shit attitudes, like happened to Hastings, etc. But that's very rare. They're all players that have been here and done it and gotten old.
Not necessarily. There's a few of them that there's plenty of them over there and there's plenty of talent in New South Wales and Queensland Cup too. Your bottom 5 players across 16 clubs, it's 90 players. There'd be 90 players that don't have a top 30 contract. That'd be on par with the 25 to 30 guys in the rosters at the moment. I think it's totally fine as long as they keep the even. It's the salary cap still does its job, and teams are still pretty even, which they weren't last year. But I mean, apart from us, the comp's pretty even this year.
Look, I will admit that this year is completely different. You're looking at big teams getting toppled. You're getting small teams come through. So
yeah,
we're the only shit ones at the moment, I guess. And Bulldogs. I don't like Bulldogs. Fuck Bulldogs.
But if you look at the ladder, we're only 4 points. We're only 4 points behind second.
We're only 6 points off the minor premiership too, Josh.
Yeah, but my point is, there's one team. Half the comp. There's 2 points between second and 15th at the moment. I mean, it's only 3 rounds in, but everyone's had a win,
and we're dead last.
Except for us. Yeah, we're the. If you take
but don't start me on the salary cap. Don't start me on the salary cap because the third party deal is just absolutely kill it. There's some clubs that can just go, ape shit with that stuff, and clubs like ours, we can't. We just don't have that sort of money to. We can't have Tedesco on 600,000 and him getting 900,000 in TPAs.
Or living in Vaucluse and in Uncle Nick's apartment.
Well, they're talking about Ponga tonight. as Dolphins trying to go for him as a marquee player. And they're saying if there's a chance of them getting him from Newcastle, because he's off contract at the end of the year, that Newcastle won't be able to compete with the Dolphins for third-party agreements because they're a new franchise and
Yeah, they've got all of Queensland.
New area and all that sort of stuff. So it's not a level playing field, this salary cap. Whether we like the NRL like to think so, but it doesn't work. It really doesn't work.
One final Discord question. So Teriyaki Chicken Wings, aka Ben, he said, "Is it just me or am I going crazy thinking that the attack really hasn't changed much this year? One-up runs, lack of support when we're looking for an offload, lack of depth in block plays, and when we spread the ball. I hate watching our attack and I hate our structures. I watch any other team. They've got much better structures. What are we doing each week at training?" Shane, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, look, I agree and disagree. Our attack hasn't looked great. It looked very good that first half against the Storm. Hastings adds definitely a different dynamic to the team and a different attacking option. The thing is, he's been there for a preseason. Like, people don't, you can sit there and train and do whatever drills you want with whatever players. The difference is when you're in playing a game, it's a completely different thing. And everyone knows training isn't playing a game. The boys are only getting used to each other now. We've got new centre pairings. We've got Hastings in there. We've got two young hookers. We've got Peachy, who's coming in, running around like a headless chook sometimes, but doing some really good stuff in the middle as well. So, it's going to take time, and it's so frustrating saying the same shit every year. It's going to take time, but all I can say is all I can commend Madge is sticking to a team. He's trying to stick to a team so boys can gel. And as frustrating as it is for everyone, and I'll be honest, I get frustrated with it sometimes. I'm like, oh, why are they there? He's sticking to a team to get some chemistry, to get the boys playing with each other. And I think that's all it's going to take, just time to gel. We've got new guys in there who bring a different dynamic to our attack. It's not just the same statement shit. Hastings can kick a ball probably better than Brooks. I want to see him kick more. I want to see... I would say Ollie's pretty much been our best... looking like, anyway, our best attacking centre in a while. He's breaking tackles. He's, defence-wise, a bit shaky, but attacking-wise, he's better than anyone we've got now, definitely. So I think give it to mid-year. We'll see when Dewey gets back, because I saw a post today. He posted on Instagram that he's doing some skill exercises. He's doing some kicking. He's, obviously his knee's getting better.
Yeah.
I think we'll wait till mid-year. I personally want to see Dewey and Hastings in the halves. I think Brooksy needs a stint down in reserve grade, or play lock. I know that sounds really stupid, but the bloke can tackle very, very well. He's probably better than either of the other two options in halves at tackling, and it gives us that third playmaker. So I think that could be an option. I know people will probably laugh at that and probably won't take it serious, but I think it's probably better than what we're doing at the moment. So, yeah, that's just my thought on our attack.
Anything to add to that, Rob?
In terms of attack, you probably add a lot. Well, firstly, our defence is better in the 3 games we've played. We've 4 of the tries that we can think of off the top of my head have come from kick defence. So we've got to sort out kick defence. But in general play, our defence is a lot better. In attack, it's really weird. It's just such a mixed bag. I get really frustrated watching our attack most of the time, and then sometimes we'll execute a play beautifully. So basically, all the teams run a slide defence. Okay, so when you got a slide defence, to strip numbers, as Shane said about Hastings, you've got to straighten the play up. You straighten the play up, then you freeze your defence a little bit. Because if you're running sideways and they're sliding sideways, you're not creating an extra man. And we saw a couple of times on Friday night where we executed perfectly. Like there was one, the try we bombed on half time. Like Peachy, I think, got the ball from first receiver. Joffa ran a straight line, so he froze his bloke up. He gave the ball to Brooksy, who straightened up, who gave it to Dano, and then we had a two-man overlap. And then even in Jimmy's try, like our first try of the game, if Madden had gone to the right, he created a 4-on-2. He got the ball, he straightened up, and he chose to go back inside to Jimmy. When he had a 4-on-2, he had Dane out the back and a two-man overlap. So when we straighten up, we can strip numbers. But what I see a lot is, and this is with Jock and Brooksy the other night, they were getting the ball a few times and they're running sideways. And I'm like, why do you choose to run sideways now? Because you're just going with the slide defence. I'm just not understanding, we can do it like from 30 out from our own line and make a long break. Now, when we're in the opposition quarter line, we've got to find other ways to freeze the defence. Like even a little run around or something. We just can't be running sideways and playing into the defence's hand. And I was watching another game on Sunday with the North Queensland game. We've all spoken about Nanai and how we'd love to have him at the club. His first try, the Cowboys run a block play, and Nanai's going to be that first guy. He's running a decoy and he's got Fido out the back. And Townsend sees there's no fullback there, so he puts a kick in and Nanai scores. Like they've got multiple ways. They play eyes up footy, they see what's in front of them, but they're running their shapes really, really well. We can do it, but we don't do it all the time, and it's really frustrating. So if I see Brooksy get the ball this week on the left or Jock get it on the right and just start running sideways when they're trying to do a backline play, I'm going to lose my shit, because every time they straighten it up, we can make breaks, we can make holes. So it's just, and I know, so you can't say Madge or Ben Gardner, they don't know what they're doing, because they obviously do know what they're doing. They've showed them what our boys should be doing, but they don't do it all the time. And you just don't know which West Tigers attacking team is going to show up, because you can see they're trying it. They're definitely trying to be more expansive. Last year we were putting up 4 or 5 hit-ups and then that stupid midfield bomb, where we're trying to do a few more things on earlier tackles this time. But I don't know what you guys think of this, but like every time we run sideways, we can't create anything. But when we straighten up the attack a little bit, you're just making your man stay in his position. He's not sliding across with you. That's how you strip numbers.
Yeah.
So it's
You're
just
also
very
drawing players in. You're drawing
exactly
players
right.
in. If you're holding it up, you're drawing players in, and that's.
Well, if anyone
you run
takes that last
sideways,
game,
your opposite player runs right with you, and you just look like a fucking idiot because you're just running along and someone's looking straight at you.
you're playing into their hands if you run sideways. Exactly.
That's it. They just watch that and they're just like, oh, sweet, this is easy. I'll just follow him.
Last Friday night, they kept charging up on Brooksy, Shane. They kept charging up on Brooksy. And to his credit, later in the game, he found that inside kick for Dane Laurie. Like, we would, as supporters, we didn't even think we were going to see that. But, like, you had to come up with something different because they kept charging in. So we don't seem to have a fourth and fifth option when we're in the quarter line. I think we're okay up until we get to that red zone. In the red zone, we just kind of look headless. There's a bit of one out running. We're not deep enough. Like I said, even just a little run around where the receiver of the run around shows and goes or whatever, it's just going to hold the players up. It's going to hold the markers up because the markers don't know if you're going to go back inside. There's just so many options when you just, play the right way. But, just going sideways with their slide defence, you're never going to get around it. It's just really frustrating to watch. So I'll be really taking a lot more note this week. I just want to see our halves straighten up that ball. Even if they're not trying to run themselves, just get the ball straighten a bit before you pass. Don't run 2 steps sideways and bring that defender with you. Hold your man opposite you where he should be. It's not rocket science, man. It's rugby league 101. Like every team does it. But, we just don't seem to do it all the time. But when we execute it right, we got a 2-man overlap the other day. And then, like I said, even in Jimmy Tamo's try, if Jock Madden had gone out to the right, we created a 2-man overlap. We were going to score whichever way we went. To be fair, Madden probably took the wrong option going to Tamo, and Tamo just did really bloody well to get it over the line and score. But, so in terms of our attack, I see that they're working on it. They're trying to be better, but sometimes we're just too crab-shaped with our running, and that's why we're not stripping numbers all the time.
I think Adam and Jackson definitely fix that. Either one of them in terms of the attack. Just checked as I was checking the Discord, Kelly's just said Mitch Barnett got 6 weeks for his elbow.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
And Jackson Hastings got half of that for a pretty good tackle where he landed flat on his back.
Yeah.
And old Nelson from Melbourne got off for that swinging arm that looked like he was going to knock someone's head
that
off.
was a joke too.
With a fine.
That's a piss take. Yeah, that's a piss take.
Feel sorry for him because he's tall. He couldn't lean lower. Yeah, that was an absolute joke as well.
He smashed him. He absolutely smashed him.
The Nelson Solith, I'm probably angry. Like, yeah, Barnett. I mean, Barnett could have been charged for. By the way, no relation to myself. I'll distance myself from him now.
Dirty Barnetts.
Yeah, don't trust him. Don't trust him. He legit could be charged for assault for what he did in that game. If he did that in the street, 100%. He'd be charged for assault. Like, it's not like it's a part of it's just anything when the player's not watching, like essentially a coward punch or coward elbow. Man, yeah, he's very lucky. 6 weeks, like it's yeah.
Josh, the problem with the NRL, and I reckon most of our listeners will agree with this. If I can't remember who the Penrith player was, but if he'd have broken his jaw, Barnett gets 12 to 16 weeks.
Yeah.
You know, we're
Jackson
we're
Hastings does his
injury.
ACL in that cannonball.
Cannonball, exactly.
Yeah, it's determines on how strong the ligaments and the bones are of the player that are the victims. The Discord's going off. They're talking about, you guys were talking about Justin Pascoe or something earlier, but it's really firing the Discord at the moment. So if you want to take part of the show, patreon.com/WestsLife. Give us a follow on the socials and all that jazz. Shane, just as we finished, is MG Pumps, are you guys pretty flat out? Just won't fucking stop raining in Sydney, so I'm assuming you guys are pretty busy lately.
Yeah, I've got a couple of installs to do just to upgrade some systems. And the annoying thing is we've got a few jobs where obviously the pumps weren't too great during the last floods, and then they finally come back to us. Oh yeah, can you do it now? And it's just like, well, it's raining. Like, I'm not getting in there. Like, no chance. So it's just putting the back pedal on a few jobs, but we're always busy, man. Always got work. So, and lucky me, I get to go to the bank tomorrow and try to sort out a loan for a home extension. So I've got to do that and then go straight back to work.
So anyone out there, any mortgage brokers out there, shoot us an email and we'll get you in contact with Shane.
If they can do an extension, approve my loan, I'm stoked.
Righto, boys. We got on air tonight. We'll just do a quick one, and look at that. We've gone over the hour mark again. It's time flies when you're having fun talking about your not fun rugby league team.
Can we get a psychologist, Josh, please?
A psychologist? Yeah.
Well, sports
any psychologists out there, shoot us an email. Maybe we need to head in the game. We can be more efficient next time around. But boys, where are we watching the game Thursday night? Just quickly.
I might head to Wests Ashfield, Josh.
Yep, it looks like I'm going to try and head there.
I'm thinking the same
as well. Yeah. Wests Ashfield have got half-price beers and pizza until half-time. So if you're looking for a place to watch the game live and loud, check out our mates at Wests Ashfield. Boys, until might be a little bit of a distance because I won't talk to you until Monday, and it's a 5-day break from each other. That's
if we don't see each other at Wests Ashfield.
Well, I mean, on air, in front of a microphone, Shane. We literally chat every day. We literally chat every day, but I meant in front of a microphone. But
you'll spot us on the table, all holding hands, eating pizza together.
Yep. Singing Kumbaya. Righto, boys. On that note, as always, go the Tigers.
Go the Tigers.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the WestsLife podcast. As always, we are sponsored by Wests Ashfield Leagues Club and as well as MG Pump Solutions. If you could please subscribe if you'd love to hear us again. We're going to have episodes twice a week, every week this season, Mondays and Thursdays. So we're going to, as the season rolls in, be sure to catch us every week. And if you can, give us a like on the socials, so at WestsLife Pod on Instagram and Twitter. Search for WestsLife Podcast on Facebook. And if you'd like to take part in the show, patreon.com/WestsLife. It's just a couple of bucks a month to help grow the show. We'll see you again next time on the WestsLife Podcast.